welcome to Gracefully Graying. Today, we are thrilled to have Gaylotta Murray back again from Your Life Best Media. And welcome, Gaylotta, first of all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So glad to have you back. And I know we've done some recent Facebook Live shows with you. So, I kind of wanted to dig a little deeper into a walk down memory lane, which is, your expertise and, what you're really good at. And you really help people put together and update all of their photos and their memories. And, it's just super important for our viewers, the 50 and over crowd, whether it's for seniors or their kids, to help kind of organize all of this. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Mm-hmm. So we are glad to have you back.
Thank you.
So tell us briefly again about your background.
So I think about this because I think it's a bit of irony. It wasn't until I've had this business running for about 4 or 5 years, and it wasn't until maybe about 2 years ago that I realized an important connection. When we talk about memories and how that came, my interest in memories, I realized that comes from my grandfather. My grandfather was a photographer in Hickory, North Carolina in the early 1900s. He's a self-made photographer. He only had a grade school education, but he taught himself how to start his own and do that business. And I remember as a child enjoying the times that I spent on the road with him as he would go to different appointments and do photos from families to funerals. He actually did funeral photos. And then I look at the irony in terms of how I started. I started this business doing memorial tributes. Don't know where that came from, but, I started doing memorial tributes. And so I was just thrilled when I made the connection and realized the legacy that my grandfather left to me, my love for images. His was making images, taking pictures, being a photographer. Mine is taking existing images and telling a story. Both ways, we were in the storytelling business, in the business of helping people to appreciate their memories and use them to tell a story. So that's how I got started. My first client was a church member whose daughter died suddenly, and she asked me to do a memorial tribute for her, and I did one.
Oh, wow. That's a nice story. And I think that, a lot of our viewers and a lot of people in general can relate to, having a grandparent that, every family has probably boxes of photos or old photo albums, and they could be in the basement, they could be in the attic, they could be under a bed, in a closet, who knows where. And I just think that, in today's digital technology, and seniors are a bit challenged with this, that, I think that your services really kind of help people and maybe relieve some of the stress of being able to organize these photos and the memories, because everybody wants to keep these memories, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us about these photos that people have not being protected, and the concern over that, and what happens over time, and the importance of having an organized photo gallery.
Lori, I named this company because I went back and forth about what I wanted to call it. And so I named it Your Best Life Media because I wanted people to think of their photo collection as a collection of your best life moments. But I say media because it could be print, it could be digital, it could be any number of things. But I wanted them to think first of the best things that you have in your photo collection. And so that's what I wanted to put out front. But then I realized that as I began to talk to people about the business that I had, folks were telling me about their photo collection on their phone, and they would tell me that they would have, I think probably the largest number that someone has reported to me or shared with me was 10,000, that they had 10,000 photos on their phone. And what they were doing is continuing to buy to increase their phone's capacity, storage capacity on their phone so that they can maintain them. It never occurred to them to think about take them off your phone and put them somewhere where you don't have to worry about the money that you're spending in increasing your storage capacity. You could actually put it into a program, an application where you know and you can rest assured that your photos are protected. But the thing when we talk about protected that is really key is that we're living in a time with this global warming and all. We don't know what weather is going to happen. We don't know what disasters are going to come upon us. We living in a state where we don't have to deal with hurricanes, at least not at this point, but tornadoes, snowstorms, fires, any number of those things can come upon your home and devastate your home and burn up all your memories. Think about, Lori, whenever we see people after the aftermath of a tornado, and they always are standing there pulling up old photos, finding old photos, old memorabilia that is burned, tar, just
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
And
Or when,
so
people happen to find one photo in a
one
tornado that
and they're
happened.
happy they are thrilled with
Right.
that one photo. But if you have your photos digitized, if you put them, you have them converted and have them digitized, then they're in the cloud, as people say,
Sure.
and they are protected against those kinds of disasters. Even if your computer goes down, whenever you get another computer, you can still boot up and get to wherever you have them storage and get your photos. And you can have prints made. Some people say, well, I've got to have something to hold. That's
Mhm.
fine. You
Mhm.
digitize it, you can have it printed again, and you can hold it.
Right. Right. So, it's, great that people have these photos on their phone. But like you said, there are other ways of storing them digitally.
Yeah.
But tell us about, people have cassette tapes and they have
Oh, yeah.
DVDs and they have VHS tapes and CDs, which,
Right. Right.
I mean, the newest computer, my computer doesn't even take a DVD
Right.
or
They don't anymore. Mm-mm.
or they have USB drives,
Right.
all these things. Get into that a little bit, like, saving images or videos from cassette tapes or, other older equipment.
So when I tell people about my business, Your Best Life Media, I explain that it's a photo management suite, and it has three key services: visual storytelling, memory keeping solutions, and digital photo organizing. So let's talk about memory keeping solutions. I became an ambassador with a company called Forever.com, and that was very intentional because I wanted to add a service to my business that I thought was going to be very beneficial, very key, very important, very helpful to people. And I truly believe it is for a couple of reasons. One of the things that Your Best Life Media offers, well, a couple of things that it offers, is permanent storage. So yes, you have Google Photos and Amazon Photos and iCloud Photos. I'm saying nothing against that, but I'm just saying that Forever.com really guarantees that its storage is permanent, that you will have no problem with getting to it at any point, and that it will always continue to upgrade so that whatever the latest technology is for access, it will be there. We know that VHS, can you find a VHS player? I mean, can you find somewhere where you can put your I mean, people may have them, but they're few and far between. And it may get to that point, as you indicated, with DVDs and cassette, you're not going to be able to find a player for that. So media conversion becomes very, very important because you put it into the storage and you can play it from your computer. No problem. You just play it from your computer. You don't have to have any kind of special device. The only device you need is either your phone or your computer or your laptop. So that is why it's so important because we're moving so fast in technology. There are things that are coming out, like look at what Facebook is doing now. Talk about Meta. I don't know what Meta is, but it just looks like here's another technology that's going to take us to another level. And so we just have to realize that we can't hold on to those old things anymore.
Right. So literally, people can just put their VHS tapes in a bag and give them to you.
It's a box, and
Mhm.
we call it the Forever Box.
Mhm.
And you and I would sit down. Let's say with you, Lori, we would sit down, and you would say, "Well, I've got all of this, that, and that." I said, "Well, where do you want to start?" And you said, "Well, I want to have all my VHS tapes converted. I said, okay, Lori, that sounds like a medium box because that's the one that will take most of the tapes. And you would order the box, it would come to you, you put the tapes in, and within 3 to 4 weeks, it gets converted and it comes back to you.
Oh,
You'll get the tapes back, but then
mhm.
you will also have them in because you're going to open up a Forever account. It
Sure.
goes right into your Forever account. And that Forever account is free that you open up. It doesn't, you get a $20 coupon and it's free to open it up.
Right. And I know, if our viewers watch your series with us, that, you teach them all about that and how to open their account and everything. So that's so easy, like literally putting your tapes in a box that comes to
And a
your
lot.
house.
Yeah.
It couldn't really be easier. And again, I think that it probably takes the stress out of families like, oh my gosh, like what do I do with these? I really need to preserve these. And that's such a great way of solving that and coming up with a great solution.
It is a great way, but here's the thing. What I realize in my business is that my clients all have good intentions. Everybody has the intention of doing something with their photo collection. It is my business to try and get you to understand that it's far simpler than you started. And what do they say? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So in this case, Lori, it's one box at a time. You might start with VHS tapes. You might turn around and do prints. Then you may turn around and do your cassette tapes or your negatives or film or whatever. You just do it one bite at a time.
Right. So here's a question. People have old photographs, and over time, if they've been exposed to light or,
Sure.
whatever, they may fade. I mean, Photoshop can take care of that. You can color correct things. Most people don't know how to do that. But
Right.
does that, do you help with that? If somebody says,
I
oh,
do help with that.
can you, yeah.
I don't do that myself.
Mhm.
That's where I think about my grandfather because that's what he would do. But I don't do that myself. But I have in my last few years, I've really made an effort to identify sources for me to outsource this kind of work, places where I
Mhm.
can do that. And so I do have a few companies that I can outsource that are very reputable, do very good work, and that their whole business is about restoring old photos. In fact, I've got a
Sure.
couple for a client now that I have to price out. So yes.
Yeah, no, that's good to know because I think that that's an issue a lot,
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
things kind of deteriorate.
Yeah.
So, you're dealing with people's family vacations, with milestone events, could be weddings, could be family history, which is a whole separate category, right?
Right. Right. It is a
Um,
whole separate category. You're correct.
Right. So, what do you see the most of? Is it more event things, or people just want to preserve like generations of family members?
I have two clients that I'm bringing on. I'm trying to bring them into the fold. In both instances, one instance, she is the keeper of the whole family history, and
Mm.
her history goes back many, 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 many years. She has a grandmother that no, an elder. I will say because I don't know how many greats it is. An elder that was a part of experience. She experienced the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots. She was a part of that whole thing. And I mean, that is completely, I mean, that is totally impressive. And so then there's the whole thing of how she lived through that and then the family after that and what the family has done since then. That's precious to her. And she has it in all of these photo albums. And so my conversation with her is a very gentle, a very careful conversation because I don't want your memories are very important to you. So I'm not going to run to you and say, oh, quick, you need to put them in a box. No, we're going to talk about what you have because I know how sensitive this is. And she's told me so many stories. And so after listening, Lori, to many of her stories, I've
Sure.
gotten her to where she's comfortable in doing a small box. And that's okay. That's okay. We'll do a small box with just some very key photos, and then we'll go from there. So,
And
you just, again, the
so,
elephant
like
one bite at a time.
a project like that, would you help to narrate that? Is there, like, if it's a photo book, do you put text to that? Do you help write that?
So
What if
that
somebody
is
wants to do?
something that she does want done. I don't know if she's going to have me to do it or someone, but I'm looking at it in increments. And so I said to her, let's get as many photos as we can digitized. And once you get comfortable with that, let's think about what your next steps are.
Mhm.
Because you've got all these photos digitized now, so they're in a very, I mean, they're very easy to just download into a photo book and create one and tell the story. And it may end up being several photo books, as many photos as she
Right,
has, maybe several.
right, right. Yeah, I mean, it would essentially be a photo history book
It
where,
would
you're
be. It
incorporating
certainly would be.
text and yeah,
Right.
where it could be like it's essentially a self-published
Hmm.
history book,
It
so to
is.
speak.
That
Yeah.
is a good way of seeing it. Yeah.
Or if you're doing a video, you could have that narrated, I assume, and,
You
add
could.
voiceover
Yes.
for that with the photos.
Yes.
Tell us
You could.
about that.
So I do have the capacity to think about. I was trying to think of one that I did. I do have the capacity to take a video slideshow
Mhm.
and take the pictures and then do a voiceover. Very easy to do a voiceover. That voiceover can be, oh yes, I did do one for a client. It could be a voiceover for the client actually speaking, or me speaking on behalf of the client, or however you want to do it. It's not a problem.
Right, right. And you mentioned earlier that you do a lot of memorial. Um, well,
Tribute
tell us about that. Would it be slideshows? It's kind of
slideshows.
old fashioned,
It
but
would be, yes, it would be slideshows, except it's a video slideshow. And what people, I have seen many families do them themselves, and that's okay. You can do it yourself. I really believe when I sit down and do it, I'm putting together a story. I'm not just putting together a series of slides. This may be interspersed with captions. It may be music in the background. If there's a quote, a special quote or something special, if there's some memorabilia to be shown or something, it will be interspersed with those kind of things to where it's really telling a full story and not just a series of photos that just keep going around and around. So
yeah,
I really take time to do that. When I talk about visual storytelling, that is something I really take
yeah.
to heart. I enjoy doing that. It takes some time, but I do enjoy doing that.
Sure. Yeah. I think sometimes people don't realize how much time it takes, but
They
that's what
don't
people,
because yeah, they've seen so many people put together slideshows and it's I don't it didn't take them that long.
right.
Yeah, probably didn't, but mine is a little more than that. A little,
Right. Well, that's also why your services are so valuable
yeah.
because these are not small tasks, but you're obviously making it easier.
Hmm.
So photo gifts, that are so popular. What are some of the most popular photo gifts? Maybe aside from the holiday season, but like just in general, like what do people like to
Yeah.
put photos on?
So people like put photos on mugs. There's a lot of you see a lot of mugs with the mugs on the mugs, mug shots on the mugs. Yeah, and people do that. We have moved away from, and I'm not saying we've moved away because people still buy frames, and I'm not saying frames are not popular anymore because they're still, frames, but we're moving away from that as the only thing to do. And so there are now frameless frames where you really just, it's a nice piece of board with a photo on the board, and it looks very, very, very attractive, but it is not, you don't have to worry about the big frame. And as a person that loves to decorate, I like the flexibility that it gives because it doesn't overpower. You can put multiple ones on the wall. You can hang them on the wall, frameless photos. You can do wall decor. The popular thing now, Lori, is metal wall decor,
Mhm.
putting pictures, having prints made on metal. Very stunning because the metal gives it that sheen and it just really pops. So that's a new thing that's very popular particular. And
Are these
then you
full color photos? You can pick which metal color you like, or
Well, no, the photo really dictates the color. The photo is the color, so you don't have to worry about the background. You may decide that you want a design in the background. You can do that. You can have a design in the background of it. I did a family tree for, and it was obviously a big oak tree, and then the pictures of my family were the leaves on the tree, and
Mhm.
so that was the whole picture in the design. You can get multiple templates to choose from, and you decide whatever it is that you want to put on your canvas, on your piece.
So how big can you do this? I mean, are there size
Ooh,
limitations?
yes.
I mean, if
Hmm.
somebody wants a bigger wall piece, like 2 feet by 3 feet, 3 feet by 4 feet, I mean,
I don't know if it gets that big, but
okay.
I
Okay.
I would just say look into that. I off the top of my head I can't say, but
Okay.
it does go fairly large, but not
Fairly
quite. I don't
large.
think that large. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Um, all right. And then, you've, like I had mentioned, you just recorded some live events with us. One was Walk Down Memory Lane, which is what we've been talking about. The next one is Counting the Days. People can make calendars. The
Hmm.
next one is creating personalized gifts, which again, you're explaining to people how to do this
Right.
specifically through forever.com, which is your photo management tool, which you have
Hmm.
spoken about.
Hmm.
Um, so, I'm thinking about our viewership, and if seniors maybe do have some time, and they're technologically savvy enough to, and you walk them through this, but
I do.
talk about it's a great thing for people that have the time and inclination to maybe collect
Right.
their family's photos, and just kind of address our maybe senior viewers,
Hmm.
about how easy this is. And it's kind of a great hobby, right? If they've got the
It is.
computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend, and we just reconnected. She is 92 years old.
Hmm.
Just recently spoke with her. She is on Facebook. And she saw my postings on Facebook and contacted me and said, I am very interested in what you do.
Yeah.
And I have since spoken with her, and I am just impressed with her capacity to manage, computers. She's not intimidated. She does know her limitations, but she's willing to do some things. And so, we and I'm not certain. She's obviously 92. I don't think 92 is a baby boomer. Or is 90? No, 92 is not a baby boomer. I don't think so. But anyway, but she's adapted. And so I think that there are far more of us than you think that have
Right.
adapted technology into our everyday life, and we're not intimidated by it, and we're able to manage it. And that's
Right.
the person that I most want to work with is a person that is, a little bit tech savvy, gets on the internet, maybe gets on Facebook or social media or whatever. That would be a really good person. But if you're not, I'm not excluding you, because I know that there's a young person somewhere in your circle of friends that
Mhm.
can work with you on that.
Right. And you know this, that one of our goals at Gracefully Graying is developing a tech series for seniors, very simplified steps on how to do things, how to open multiple
Sure.
windows on your computer,
Yeah.
how to find documents.
Hmm.
Seniors may not be actively engaging in big software programs on their computer, like people would do related to work, or actually completing projects for work, but
Hmm.
um, just kind of completing the simplest tasks online,
Right.
which we are trying to help seniors with. And that's something
Right.
that's ongoing that we're developing now. And then you taking it a step further in
Hmm.
really guiding people who have the devices, probably more often than not, doing this on a computer or a
Hmm.
tablet, maybe a little more difficult on a cell phone, but
Yeah, it would be a little more challenging. It's possible, but it's a little more challenging on a cell phone. Yeah.
right. and, helping them log in to, forever.com and knowing where their password is so that they can explain that. Like, say you've worked for an hour or two and you want to take a break, you've got to know where your password is to be able to log in again.
Yeah, there's a couple of things you can do. I think police officers and all, and even tech people say don't put it somewhere where it's easily accessible. So it is not bad to keep a list of your passwords, and if you can't remember it, store it somewhere where it's safe. Store it somewhere where you store the rest of your important documents or whatever, so that you can get to it. But there are also applications called password managers, and that's what I use because I'm on the computer every day, and
Sure.
there's passwords for almost everything that you have, and so I can't remember all of those. So
Right.
password managers help me to do that.
Right. And then, like I mentioned a minute or so ago, the important thing is really knowing where, okay, once you have your photos on your computer, how do you find them? Because you have to be able
Right.
to find them to
Right.
incorporate them into these great things that you're helping people make.
Right. Right. So that's why it's good to have them in one place. Again, I'm all about forever.com, but you may Google Photos, Amazon Photos, but it's good to have them in one place. When you get them to that one place, don't just leave them and let them sit there. There's a couple of things that you need to do. Whenever you take a photo, Lori, it's always good to tag it. Because if you're anything like me, when I went back to some of my photos and what they say, the cobbler has no shoes,
Yeah.
I went back to my photos and I'm like, what is this? And where is this? And who is this? Who are these people? And so it's really good to, within a day or two, go back and tag it and say, this is me with so and so and so and so that when you do go back to do that photo book, you know what it is that, you're seeing.
Right.
And you know the importance of that photo. So that is very important. The other thing is once you tag them, is organizing them in albums. You pick it. You might want to do it by event. You might want to do it by family member. You may want to do it by year. However you want to do it, it's organized. And you can go and get to it whenever you want to.
Yeah, that's great advice, actually. And those could be additional mini lessons on our How to Tech series. I think that's very invaluable. So, Gaylotta, tell us how our viewers can find you online.
Sure. My website is yourbestlifemedia.com. And you can do that, or you can email me at Gaylotta at yourbestlifemedia.com. No, yeah, yes, .com. I'm sorry. Your Gaylotta at yourbestlifemedia.com. And yeah, those are the two best ways to contact me.
Good. Okay. Any final words of advice for our gracefully graying crowd?
I think my tag that I've been working with for a while is showing is better than telling. You have a lot of memories to share. You tell people about different things that happen to your life. The thing that really validates the stories that you tell is the visual part, is being able to show that visual part to whomever. So showing is better than telling and now is better than too late. That's what
I like that. That's great. It's better than too late. Absolutely. Right. I like that. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And we encourage people to visit your site and all the great services that you offer, and check out, your series that we have on Facebook Live. And we will continue this conversation, at a later date to give people even more information. And because it's an important topic, an important project for people to do and have their memories.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lori. I really enjoyed this.
Okay. Thanks, Gaylotta. And for all of you viewers, visit gracefullygraying.com, our website, and our YouTube channel. And thanks for joining us.